I'm Luna. On my 23rd birthday, my father forced me into a strategic alliance. I chose the handsome Julian, but I didn't expect him to run away on our wedding night. The next day, he flew to the United, and I followed him. At grand auction, I saw him being all cozy and intimate with Vivian, and my heart instantly shattered. But the truth was unexpected. He had known me all along, and this marriage was actually a setup he had planned long ago. Later, our story went viral online and became the subject of a hit novel. On my 23rd birthday, William, who had always doted on me, suddenly threw a stack of photos of eligible bachelors at me. I looked at him in surprise. "William, what are you doing?" William pulled out a cigarette from somewhere. He frowned, took a deep drag, and exhaled smoke rings into the air. I hated it when he smoked. After all, smoking is bad for health. Since childhood, my favorite thing to do was hide his cigarettes, but at social gatherings, some annoying uncles would always offer him one. I reached out to snatch the cigarette from his mouth, like I used to when I was little. He dodged, waving away the smoke in front of him. "You are not getting any younger. Pick one and get married." I was surprised by William's sudden behavior, then I pouted and pleaded, No, I haven't had enough fun yet." Usually, whenever I pouted and pleaded, William would give in, but this time, he got angry, slamming the table so hard that the freshly lit candles on the cake tilted. It was the first time I'd seen him so furious. "You have to choose one today. You lines marry him whether you like it or not." I was so scared that tears instantly streamed down my face. "Why? Just because you tell me to marry, I have to?" My temper flared, and after yelling, I immediately got up and ran back to my room, muffling myself in the comforter and crying endlessly. After a long while, he came to knock on my door and said some soothing words. Reluctantly, I opened the door. It's my fault. Daddy apologizes to Luna, okay?" I still refused to acknowledge him, turning away and lying on the bed, covering my head with the comforter. He sighed, sitting on the edge of my bed, and reached out to pull my comforter. "Luna, will you help your dad? I don't want this either, but the company's finances are in trouble. I have no choice but to." Hearing this, I suddenly threw off the comforter, my eyes red, and said choked up, "William, you are selling me off." He looked at me, also helpless, and dropped to his knees before me. Luna, please, just help your dad this once, please." I was startled by his actions, and quickly rolled off the bed to help him up. He held my hand, desperately pleading. My usually stern, reserved, and steady father had changed. I bit my lip, tears welling up, and silently nodded. Looking at the stack of photos of eligible bachelors, my brows furrowed into a knot. These men were either too old or too ugly. I suddenly regretted agreeing to William's business arrangement marriage idea. This was practically pushing me into a pit of fire. To think that a beautiful flower like me would be stuck in cow dung from now on, it was absolutely miserable. Just as I gave up struggling, and planned to pick one at random with my eyes closed, a photo fell out. My eyes lit up instantly. The man in the photo had sharp eyebrows and piercing eyes, a clean and cold appearance, paired with a tall and slender physique, giving him a naturally noble and aloof aura. I immediately took a liking to him. I pulled out this photo. "William, this one." William glanced at it, shaking his head and tutting, "How about we pick another one?" "No. This one." I crossed my arms over my chest, and lifted my chin. "I don't like any of the others, this is the only one I'm interested in." I thought I had given William a difficult task, but he just made a phone call, and the man in the photo agreed to marry me, even saying he wanted to go getting our marriage license with me that very day. I was utterly flabbergasted. Faced with his extravagant pre-nuptial agreement, I had no choice but to take my personal ID, and go getting our marriage license with him. The first time I saw him, my heart was already captured. He was so much more handsome than in his photos. I truly picked a winner, picking him out from so many photos. My heart swelled with joy. With heavy thud of the official stamp from the staff, I transformed from a single woman to a married one. Just as I was happy with my marriage certificate, my husband, as if completing a chore, handed me over to the assistant nearby. He then drove off himself, even running to open the car door without a single word. What Am I contagious or something? Did he have to run away the moment he saw me? The assistant drove me to the luxurious mansion and handed me a business card, smiling, "Mrs. Julian, happy wedding. Please call me if you need anything." I took the business card, rolling my eyes inwardly. Happy? What's there to be happy about? Have you ever seen a husband who ditches you the moment you get married? I was seething with unvented rage. After the assistant left, I curled up on the sofa and called my best friend to complain about it. "Chloe, I'm married." "What? When did this happen?" I pouted and replied, "Today, specifically this afternoon." "That fast? What? Did you meet your true love and have a whirlwind marriage?" "That was incredibly fast, oh my gosh." "So, today's your wedding night, huh? Well, I'll hang up then, I won't disturb you." No, don't hang up." "What's going on?" Chloe asked, confused. My emotions could no longer be contained. I spilled everything out, wiping away tears as I spoke. Woo tilde, what kind of true love crap is that? My dad just sold me off. And what wedding night? I got up and pulled out a tissue to wipe my tears. After leaving the countess office, he just abandoned me and drove off, without even a word. I thought Chloe would at least comfort me, but instead, she started comparing it to some novels. Ha, I've read novels, where the heroine runs away on her wedding night, pregnant, but your situation is really rare. By the way, what did you do to him? Why else would he run? Chloe until she was breathless. I could hear her laughed so hard she slapped the table even through the phone. Ha, well, if he comes back, remember to ask him why he ran. I have to write you two into a novel, it's hilarious. I was utterly depressed, Chloe, and I felt like we were living on different planets. Because of this, I directly said something harsh, "If you keep this up, I'm not playing with you anymore." I thought she would stop there, but she only laughed until she was breathless even more, and I could hear her snorting with laughter through the phone, so I just hung up. So annoying. I pulled out my marriage certificate, and fiercely poked Julian's face on it. "Julian, you dare to treat me like this? Fine, just wait, and see how I deal with you later." The more I thought about it, the angrier I became, pacing around the living room. Don't think that just because you're exactly my type, I'll let you off the hook. Who do you think you are? If I had known you were this kind of person, you couldn't have dragged me to marry you. I must have been blind back then, why did I choose you of all people? At this, I couldn't help but sit on the floor and cry. My dad married me off for hundreds of millions of dollars, he definitely doesn't love me anymore. Although this completely didn't fit my usual style, I was just too upset and couldn't control my tears. I don't know how long I cried, but I drifted off to sleep leaning against the sofa. When I woke up the next day, my neck was completely stiff. It was incredibly uncomfortable, but what made me even more uncomfortable was that my eyes were swollen like puffy fish because I cried too much yesterday. I looked at myself in the mirror. My eyes were swollen like puffy fish. Looking at the entire mansion, it was still exactly as it had been when I arrived. This meant Julian hadn't come back all night, truly left me alone in the house all night. I was so angry I could burst. Tell me, how can there be such a strange person in the world? If you don't like me, why marry me? What exactly was the meaning of leaving me alone all night on our wedding night? I remembered Chloe giggling last night, saying she'd ask him why he ran when he came back. Wait for him. Why should I? He left me alone all night, and I should wait for him. Am I crazy? I was absolutely furious. If you don't seize the opportunity, don't blame me for being rude. I pulled out my phone and dialed a number. "Hello? Where are you?" "Sorry, the number you dialed is not in service. Please try again later." "Sorry, the number." It was like punching a pillow. I hung up the phone immediately. Then, I remembered the assistant who gave me a business card last night. I quickly found the business card, and dialed the number on it. "Hello, where's Julian? Tell him to answer the phone." The assistant on the other end asked in a formal, official tone, "Hello, may I ask who's calling?" "You are asking who I am. I'm Luna." The assistant immediately softened. "Oh, Mrs. Julian. What can I help you with Mr. Julian for? What business is it of yours?" Tell him to answer the phone. I apologize, but Mr. Julian flew to the United last night. He said he has important matters to attend to. He really did ditch me and run, and he did it overnight. Book me a ticket to the United too. I'd like to see what urgent business he has to take care of. With that, I hung up the phone and threw it aside. But the next second, I regretted it. I forgot that I was a stiff neck and swollen eyes right now. This was completely unsuitable for going out. It really proved the saying, impulse is the devil. Impulse is the devil. Impulse is the devil. I hesitated repeatedly, deciding to call the assistant and tell them not to book any ticket. Just as I was about to pick up my phone, it rang. I looked, and it was the book ticket. Oh my gosh. Can it be any faster? The phone vibrated again, and the assistant sent a location and a message. Mrs. Julian, don't be shy. I'm rooting for you, Tilda. It was followed by a cheeky emoji, which truly grossed me out. I quickly turned off my phone in alarm. I casually changed my clothes, and found a pair of sunglasses to cover my eyes were swollen like puffy fish. When I left the house, I pulled a baseball cap down on my head. It was the perfect outfit. And so, I embarked on my quest to find my husband in the United. As soon as I got off the plane, I followed the location the assistant gave me to find Julian. When I got there, it turned out to be the Metropolitan House. Well, look at him. Quite the refined taste. I stood at the entrance of the Metropolitan House, hands on my hips. All right, you. I finally found you. How dare you treat me like this on our wedding night? You're about to see what I'm capable of. Just as I was about to go in, 2 staff members at the entrance stopped me, saying I couldn't enter with my attire and that I clearly looked like someone who couldn't even pay the security deposit. I immediately rolled my eyes dramatically and pulled out a black card from my bag, paying a $500,000 security deposit. At that moment, the 2 staff members were stunned. A hostess gave me a bid paddle, and I smoothly entered the Metropolitan House. I held the bid paddle and looked around, finally spotting Julian in the right corner of the first row. He raised his paddle and called out, 1,500. Then he immediately started being all cozy and intimate with Vivian. He was leaning in to talk to her. I really don't know why they needed to be so close to talk. My temper flared up instantly. So why marry me then? Why didn't he just marry this woman? I stomped my feet in anger repeatedly, unexpectedly attracting the attention of everyone present. They all turned to look at me, even Julian. I quickly pulled my baseball cap further down, and with the help of a hostess, found a seat. At this point, someone raised the bid to 2,000. Everyone gasped, and the auctioneer called out several times, "Does anyone want to raise the bid?" Just as the hammer was about to fall, Julian raised his hand and called out, 3,000. I curiously glanced at the auction item. It was a blue diamond. I thought he probably wanted to buy it for Vivian. Look how beautifully she was smiling. For a moment, I felt like a big fool. What was I doing here? Why was I looking for him? Why was I so angry? I was just a wife he paid for. The auctioneer called out several times, and after no one else raised the bid, Julian bought the diamond ring. He looked at the woman beside him, a beautiful curve on his lips. I knew there was no point in staying here anymore, so I got up and left directly. I hadn't even reached the door when I heard someone call my name. Luna Tilda, stop. The voice echoed throughout the Metropolitan House. I froze, so embarrassed I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. Who was calling me? Like a wind-up doll, I mechanically turned around. In the entire the Metropolitan House, only Julian had stood up. Oh my goodness. It was Julian who called me. What in the world is going on? Besides having a stiff neck, my eyes were also terribly swollen, and the key thing was that I hadn't put on any makeup when I left the house, just threw on a baseball cap and sunglasses. Under everyone's gaze, I cleverly replied, "Excuse me, sir, you have the wrong person." After that, I adjusted my sunglasses and dashed out at a sprint. Unexpectedly, the 2 staff members at the entrance stopped me. They said I couldn't leave yet, and that they needed to refund my security deposit before I could exit. One of them held me back, while the other went to find the lady who initially took my security deposit. I needed to return the slip and bid paddle in my hand to leave. So, I was intercepted at the door. Suddenly, I turned my head, and, through my sunglasses, saw Julian chasing after me, and Vivian, who had been sitting next to him, also came out. The lady here was still helping me with the security deposit. I was in no escape, urging her, please hurry up. As the security deposit was refunded to my account, Julian and Vivian stood beside me. Why are you running? Julian asked, hands in his pockets, chin raised, a triumphant, I finally caught you, look. Who are you? Do I know you? I was still stubborn. The next second, Julian reached out and took off my sunglasses. I frantically covered my eyes, and, in doing so, twisted my stiff neck, screaming in pain and even shedding tears. Vivian, seeing this, quickly came forward to comfort me. What's wrong? Are you okay? I pushed her away immediately. Get away from me, I don't need your fake sympathy. Vivian froze. I then turned my attention to Julian. What's wrong with you? If you don't like me, don't marry me. William's company is indeed having some financial difficulties right now, but you didn't have to treat me this way. I snatched the sunglasses from his hand, flipped my hair, despite my stiff neck, and put on the sunglasses with a strong demeanor. However, the moment I turned around, I still couldn't hold back, tears streamed down my face, and my body trembled uncontrollably. Luna had never experienced such a humiliation in my life. I should have expected this day. After all, I was a wife he paid for, with no emotional connection. Suddenly, my hand was caught by Julian. Through my sunglasses, I saw him put the blue diamond he had just won at auction on my finger. I was completely bewildered. What was going on? Then, he pulled me into his arms. A deep, husky, magnetic voice whispered in my ear, what are you talking about? Of course, I like you. My heart skipped a beat. Struggling to poke my head out from his embrace, I asked, then why did you abandon me on our wedding night, and left me alone in the house all night? At this moment, Vivian, the woman in the cheongsam, smiled and stepped forward to explain, my silly younger brother gets clumsy when he meets someone he likes. When he was getting our marriage license with you, he just remembered he forgot to buy a wedding ring. I looked at the blue diamond on my hand. So, this was the wedding ring he bought for me. Jules, this is your fault. How could you leave your sister-in-law alone in the house all night? You must perform well tonight, no matter what. What were those bold remarks? I felt my face flush, as if I were a boiling kettle, hot and steaming, my face instantly turning scarlet. Later, at a get-together, I told Chloe about this. After hearing it, she was absolutely green with envy. I also felt that I was quite happy after marriage. Chloe came almost every day to inquire about Julian and me, and she even wrote a novel about it. To my surprise, it became a huge hit and earned her a lot of money. I insisted she split the profits with me, after all, I was the heroine of the novel. But she refused, saying I was too rich. HMPH. She really was a fake friend. I had always thought it was love at first sight between us, since Julian and I had only met once before marriage, at the entrance of the Countess' office. Until one day, I unexpectedly saw a folder on his computer. I thought it was an adult film he was watching. But when I opened it, it was full of photos of me from college. That's when I remembered that Julian and I went to the same university. As I scrolled, amazed, Julian appeared behind me. He had just showered, his hair still wet. Draping a towel around his neck, he propped his arms on the desk, he leaned in, trapping me beneath him. I didn't expect you to find that. I turned to look at him. You've had this planned all along. He lowered his head and smiled slightly, then scooped me up bridal style. Transition to an intimate scene.